Hello students, now we are going to learn second chapter presentation of data. In the previous chapter collection of data, we have come across the different types of data, quantitative data as well as qualitative data. On the basis of that quantitative data, we have quantitative variables, and qualitative data we have attributes. Now in this chapter we are going to present that data, because when the data is collected it is in raw form, and as we know we collect the information for analysis and interpretation. So until and unless this raw data is presented in some suitable form, analysis and interpretation is not possible. So we are going to learn presentation of data in our second chapter. The contents of presentation of data second chapter is given on the very first page of your chapter, and you can view over here classification, types of classification, tabulation, types and uses, diagrams, importance and limitations of diagram in statistics, types of diagrams, pictorial diagram. This is the content of our chapter. If I want to simplify it, there are total 3 main topics for presentation of data: classification, tabulation and diagrammatic presentation. We can divide this chapter into these 3 parts. First part we take it as classification, second part we take it as tabulation, and third one diagrammatic presentation of the data. The topics which we are going to discuss today in this video: variable, types of variable, classification, then various terms: frequency, range, class, class length, exclusive class, inclusive class, and we are going to see discrete frequency distribution and one example of discrete frequency distribution. To start with, the very first term we come across variable. The characteristic of the unit which can be measured and presented numerically is called variable. That is our quantitative data. We can measure it and we can present it in number. So we call that as variable. Some examples I have written over here: marks of students, height of person, number of accidents on a particular day in a city. You can take any other such examples where you can measure and count. Here I have given example of height. You can even say weight of a person. Wages earned by the workers, salary of employee. So many examples you can have. You can even say that number of classrooms in a particular school. You can count them and you can present it in number. So characteristic of the unit which can be measured and presented numerically is called variable. There are 2 types of variable. One, discrete variable, second is continuous variable. Let us first see what is discrete variable. variable which can assume definite or countable values within specified range. Example, number of children per family, number of flowers on a plant, etc. Or you can say number of accident on a particular day of a city, because see, now I am going to count these number of children per family. How we count? 1, 2, 3. Same way, number of flowers on a plant. 1, 2, 3. Same way, number of accidents. 1, 2, 3. So on, we are counting in some definite specified range. Such variable are known as discrete variable. The second one is continuous variable. If a variable can assume any value within a specified range, it is called continuous variable. Example here, height and weight of a person. Second example is given, maximum temperature on a day, etc. Now let us see here, height and weight of a person. Now this variable, height or weight, it can assume any value within the specified range. For an example, the lowest weight, there are 10 persons. The lowest weight of a person is 50 kg and the highest weight among those 10 persons is 80 kg. In such case, the weight of other people in a group can assume the value within that range. Maybe some person have weight 65.5, maybe someone have 70.2. It means this variable height, weight can assume every manifested value within the given range. So such variables are called continuous variable. Example, height we take. Suppose in a classroom there are 50 students. The height of a student, the lowest height is 4 feet and the highest height is 5.9. Then the other student's height can assume any value within this range. It can be 4.1, it can be 4.4, 5.1, 5.4, etc. So such variables are called continuous variable. So these are the two types of variable, discrete variable and continuous variable. So when we go for classification, we will have two classification. One, discrete classification, and second will be continuous classification. The next topic now, discrete data. The data based on discrete variable are called discrete data. Continuous data, the data based on continuous variable are called continuous data. So on the basis of types of variable, discrete variable, continuous variable, discrete data, continuous data. And now these data which were in raw form, we are supposed to present it. So next term, classification. The process of arranging ungrouped or raw data into systematic form is called classification. Or you can say method of representing raw data into systematic form is called classification. Why we require to classify the data? What are the reasons for classification of the data? The very first thing, the large data is represented into simple, short and condensed form, which becomes easy to understand. When comparison is to be done, it becomes easy to compare between the various characteristics of the data. Third one, to save time, labor and money. And fourth, to obtain information easily. These are the main reasons why we classify the data. Now when we are going to go for our classification, few terms should be made very clear. The very first term which we are going to see today, frequency. What is frequency? The numeric value showing the repetition of value of an observation is called frequency and it is denoted as f. For example, if I say number 2 is repeated 3 times, then frequency of number 2 is 3. So that is the repetition of the value of an observation. One more, suppose number 0 is repeated 5 times, then frequency of 0 will be 5 because 0 is repeated 5 times. So frequency is the numeric value showing repetition of the value of an observation and it is denoted as f. The second term, range. The difference between maximum value and minimum value of a variable of raw data is called range. So range denoted as R is maximum value minus minimum value. I have given here one example. Suppose first 5 natural numbers. So variable as denoted as x will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maximum value is 5, minimum value is 1. So what is range? Maximum minus minimum. 5 minus 1 equals to 4. That is the range. So range is the difference between maximum value and minimum value of a variable of raw data, which is known as range, represented as R. Classification of quantitative data. The next thing which we are going to see. Discrete frequency distribution, continuous frequency distribution. As we have two variables, discrete variable, continuous variable. So we have two classification, discrete frequency distribution and continuous frequency distribution. What is discrete frequency distribution? The table showing various possible values of discrete variable with their frequency is called discrete frequency distribution. And what is continuous frequency distribution? When variable of raw data is continuous or the range of data is large, continuous frequency data is prepared. Let us see one illustration of discrete frequency distribution. Discrete frequency distribution is very simple and very easy. One example is here. During the month of April, number of accidents per day on a particular road of city is as under. Classify these data. Now see, number of accidents. It is our discrete variable. Data is given to you. On the basis of this data, you can find out the minimum and maximum value. The minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 5. So 0 means no accident and 5 means maximum 5 accidents on a particular road of a city. Now we first find out the range. Highest value minus lowest value. 5 minus 0, that is equal to 5. Now our variable is number of accidents. We denote it as x. Now range from 0 we write down till 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now how many times these values are repeated? For that we prepare our second column and heading is given as tally marks. So when we do the first 0 over here, I just put a cancel over here, means I have taken it, and I put one tally mark in that 0. Second one is 1, I just cancel it. Against 1, I put one tally mark. Third one, I just cancel it. Against 3, I put one tally mark. Then 2, I cancel it. Against 2, I put the tally mark. In this way, all these observations one by one, by cancelling it. Why I am asking you to cancel it? So that when you are doing the sum, same value is not repeated. And against that observation over here, we put the tally mark. After 4 tally marks, the fifth one we cross it. So it becomes a bunch of 5. And when we are going to count it, it becomes easy. So 0. This one is a 5 bunch. Then how many are there? 4. So 5 plus 4, 9. Here, bunch of 5 plus 1, 6. 5 plus 2, 7. 4, 2 and 2. Total comes to 30. April month 30, and you can see total 30 observations. This should tally. This is how a discrete frequency distribution is done. Very simple, very easy. Correct? This is just the beginning of the chapter. So discrete variable is done as a discrete frequency distribution. What steps you are supposed to remember? First, find out maximum minimum value, range, prepare the columns. 3 columns are there. Variable x, number of accident. Second column, tally marks. And third column, we write down that as frequency. And we give the heading also to the table. Is it clear? And our discrete frequency distribution is prepared. This was a very simple sum. So discrete distribution is very simple. Data can differ, but this is the way how frequency distribution is prepared. The important is continuous frequency distribution. And for continuous frequency distribution, you have to study few terms. You have to remember them, and while doing the sums, these terms are going to be helpful. The very first term which is important is class. How many class are to be prepared? This class is denoted as K. The very first term, that is classes, which is denoted as K. So how many classes are to be prepared? So it depends on the data which is given to you. Classes are decided as a universal trend. The classes from 6 to 15 are decided. Normally, what are the number of classes? 6 to 15. Ideal class they have said. But under special circumstances, it can vary. It can be less than 6, it can be more than 15 also. So students, you are going to remember this for theory purpose. MCQ it can be asked, 1 mark short question can be asked, that normally how many classes are to be prepared. So what is the answer? 6 to 15. But when practically we are going to do the sum, it depends on the data and the instructions given in the sum, and accordingly you prepare your number of classes. Now how to find number of classes, which is denoted as K? R upon C. What is R? Range. What is C? Class length. This is a normal formula given for number of classes. K is equal to R upon C. 1 mark MCQ or short question. Second term which we are going to see, that is class length, which is denoted as C. To determine class length, range is divided by number of classes. C is equal to R upon K. C is class length, R is range, and K is number of classes. And in this way, we obtain our class length. I am going to explain you certain things. Class length is a difference between the lower limit of a given class and lower limit of the succeeding class, or upper limit of a given class and the upper limit of the next class. I have written down here one example: 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19. 0 is the lower limit. Now what is lower limit? Lower limit is the lowest value which is included in that class. Upper limit is the maximum value included in that class. So our first class 0 to 4. So lower limit is 0. That is the lowest value included. Highest value is 4. That is the upper limit. Next class 5 to 9. 5 is the lower limit. 9 is the upper limit. So in this class, there is no value less than 5 and greater than 9. 10 to 14. 10 is the lower limit. 14 is the upper limit. So 10 is the lowest value. 14 is the highest value. So in this third class, there is no value less than 10 and more than 14. So I hope you are clear with lower limit and upper limit. Is that clear? Now what is the class length? Difference between lower limit of two consecutive classes, or you can say difference between lower limit of a class and lower limit of next succeeding class. So 0, 5. So 5 minus 0. What is the class length? 5. Next one. 5 to 9. So lower limit is 5. The next succeeding class is 10 to 14. Lower limit is 10. So 5 and 10. Lower limit of two successive classes. 10 minus 5. 5 is the class length. Or you can even take the upper limits of two consecutive classes. 4 and 9. So 9 minus 4. 5. 9 and 14 here. These two consecutive classes. 14 minus 9, 5. So always remember, when we want to see the class length, we see the difference between either upper limits of two consecutive classes, that is the next successive class, or two lower limits. Then you get your answer correct. But suppose if you see the difference between lower limit and upper limit, 0 to 4. Simply, as such, many a times the students, you are in haste that I know everything, and so you write your class length as 4. 0 to 4. So directly what occurs to your mind? Class length 4, but it is wrong. Our class length is 5, because see, when I say 0, means 0 is the lowest value included, 4 is the highest value included. So which values are included in this? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my class length is 5. This is how we determine our class length. This was our second term which we have done. Which points are to be considered while deciding class length? First, as per the range, class length is decided. Normally, when we prepare the class length, it should be in multiple of 5, 10, 50, 100, etc. Of course, if in a sum it is mentioned to take class length, then accordingly we take. But we have to decide, then normally to make our calculation easy, we take it in multiple of 5, 10, 50, 100. Class length normally should be equal. Correct? When we prepare classes, then class length of all the classes should be equal. Next point. Whenever the range of raw data is too large, then depending on the given information, class length of different classes may be different also. And this is called frequency distribution with unequal class. One note I have given, practically the value of number of classes K and the value of class length C are decided in such a way that they are positive integers and their product value is at least the value of range. So in notation, how we present it? C means class length, K means number of class. So multiplication of both either greater than or equal to our range. Now types of classes. We have two types of classes: exclusive class, inclusive class. I have presented in a form of diagram itself so that it becomes easy for you. Exclusive class: if the upper limit of any class and lower limit of its succeeding class are same, then it is called exclusive class. See the example here: 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Now 10 is the upper limit of the class and it becomes the lower limit of succeeding class. 20 is the lower limit of the class, becomes upper limit of the class, becomes lower limit of the succeeding class. So such classes are known as exclusive class. And the main point here, the lower limit is not included in the same class, but it is included in the next class. So suppose 0. So 0 is not included here. It will be included in the next, that is what we say, 10 is not included in this class, but 10 is included in the upper next class. So upper limit of the given class is not included. Upper limit of the given class is not included in the same class, but it is included in the next class. So 10 is not included in the first class, 10 is included in next class. 20 is the upper limit. It will not be included here, but it will be included in the next class. This is known as exclusive class. Inclusive class: if the upper limit of any class and lower limit of its succeeding class are not same, then it is called inclusive class. Example I have given: 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. Can you see here? It means 9 is upper limit here, but it is not the upper limit, lower limit of next class. 19 is the upper limit here, but it is not the lower limit of the next class. And you can see in exclusive, 10 is the upper limit, becomes the lower limit of next class. 20 is the upper limit, becomes the lower limit of the next class. So what point is here in inclusive? Lower limit and upper limit both are included in the same class. So lowest value 0 also included in the same class, highest value 9 also included in the same class. 10 to 19, 10 is the lower limit, that also is included in the same class. 19 highest value also included in the same class. So these are the two types of classes. When practically you do the sum, instructions will be given in the sum. Accordingly, you have to decide the types of classes: inclusive or exclusive. A note here you have to remember for theory: exclusive continuous frequency distribution is carried out for the continuous raw data, and inclusive continuous frequency distribution is carried out for discrete raw data having large value of range. This was just a brief terms which were necessary for our continuous frequency distribution. The main thing: class, class length, frequency, then types of classes, either inclusive or exclusive. Next video we will see how we are going to do the sums.